Join the Widewail team May 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern for part 1 of our 3-part virtual event series, Voice of the Resident, where we will look at the tour and move-in lifecycle stages. We've built a data set of 400,000 Google reviews from residents of hundreds of top multifamily groups, including the NMHC Top 50. Using AI and topic sentiment analysis, get a unique perspective on resident preferences. Go to widewail.com/data to sign up or find it on the revised community. That's widewail.com/data.
Good morning. Welcome to another episode of 8 Stories. I'm Sharon Cauthen. I'm here with my co-host, Jennifer Carter. And if you're new here, please remember to like and subscribe, and please leave us your comments below. So this week, we're going to kick it off and talk about our first story. So every week we tell stories from around the multifamily space, and we're sort of climbing up this imaginary 8-story apartment building. And so, Jennifer, what are we starting with today?
Yeah, we've got 8 great stories for today. But the first one, we have something around the title or first floor of accidental beginnings. And I think this is one you have some great information to share with us and get us started.
Thank you. Accidental beginnings and even endings too. And this really has to do with bumps in the road in your career. So all of those accidental things that happen along the way are what ultimately lead to your success. And I don't know anyone, absolutely anyone, no matter how talented they are, that has not either been laid off or left a job or somehow never reached the pinnacle of where they thought they should in a career. And it's very painful whenever you leave, whether it's your decision or someone else's. It's really emotionally it gets you trapped in this mindset of not good enough. And those kinds of accidental beginnings and endings are what leads you on to trying something new, expanding your audience. The most important thing you can do, the most iconic successes are built on dozens of failures. And, there's the stories about people like Thomas Edison and Henry Ford. The stories are legion about people who have not let those failures identify them, but have let them be building blocks for their success. So I just want to encourage you today that whenever you fail or something flops instead of flies, count your blessings, because that's just one more thing that you needed to get past in order to get to where you're going. And so it does not define you as a human. It does not define you as an employee or a leader. What defines you is that getting back up again and going on and carrying on and really do the work on yourself, but keep trudging forward. No one is perfect out there, and you are on your way to being where you're going.
I love that. And actually really relates. If you didn't catch our episode last week, we talked a little bit about imposter syndrome. And I think that really leans into that a little bit too, of making sure that even if you happen to, fail or flop in some degree, focusing on the things that you've done well at and keeping those in the forefront of your mind, right? And what's happening. So I love that. It's always a great reminder to keep moving forward with whatever you choose to do. You just never know.
Absolutely, because if you don't keep moving forward, then there's a tendency to sort of hover back and protect yourself from ever feeling hurt again. And there is no way to grow. No one's going to pick you up, dust you off, and say, "I'm sorry that hurt. I'm going to make you the president." It always comes down to you and what you decide that you're going to do. And
that's true.
I'm rooting for you. We both are, and we're here to celebrate those successes. But know that the things that don't succeed are just a stepping stone. They're not. They don't indicate who you are.
That's right. That's right.
So we're going to go to story 2, and this is one that Jennifer has got a little bit of passion about. In fact, if you want to learn more, you can check out our website, because Jennifer's written a whole blog about it. So what have you got for us, Jennifer?
Yeah. So lately I've had these experiences outside of the industry, which I always tend to look outside our industry and kind of relate those to what we can do better. And those experiences I've had most recently are inquiries that I've had to make, whether, for a quote for my backyard, which I'm trying to fix, or, for my kids for camp. And that's those experiences and the journey that I'm kind of going on has created me to think about what we are doing and not doing in our industry. So I kind of coined the lane here, or the term centralization is out, because that is a very common word here that we're all seeing last year and into this year. But I think that we really as an industry should be focusing on frictionless. And there is some companies out there that are very renter centric, and I think that's great, but the holistic term is frictionless. And I think that with that being said, it's creating the opportunity in our industry, not just for on-site folks and residents, but for everyone in, the journey of our industry, to not have to have bumps in the roads or blocks, right? And so thinking about what we're doing for our on-site team members, whether that's how they communicate, whether they're going from their desk to walking a tour to, picking up grounds even, right? But how are we, giving them technology to seamlessly create less friction in their day? Nowadays, I feel like, and it's been a minute, but I do feel like this is true for being on-site folks. They're going from their computer to their phone to maybe sending a video to recording a video to touring somebody. So creating opportunities for them to have a frictionless experience. When you think about it nowadays, frictionless to me, think Amazon, Uber, I don't know. There's so many out there, right? That you can seamlessly have an experience and not have to jump from hoop to try and get what you need. So thinking about kind of not centralizing, but the journey from an on-site team and a resident or prospect's perspective to the term frictionless.
I love the idea that, it doesn't mean that this doesn't happen with centralization of some things, but it means that we're looking at it holistically, not just does the resident have a digital to doorstep moment, but do our employees have a frictionless way? Because, hopefully the days are waning from where employees have to have 10 logins just to get in all the different systems that they're supposed to touch on any given day. It's time for us to make that simpler, and in doing that, we will make employees, we'll free them up to be more creative and to do more things that engage our residents. But if you're exhausted just from trying to get logged into everything and trying to remember how each system works independently, then we're failing them on giving them that opportunity, I think.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. I just think about the way the prospect even communicates with on-site. And that's kind of what stemmed my thought of, like, I was communicating with somebody for my personal matter, and it was like I was sending them an email. They responded with a phone call, and then I was like, no, I can't answer the phone. Can you just respond to me via email? And they couldn't. And so it created this frictionless, situation, and it wasn't smooth. And it kind of made me hesitate to do business with them, right? And so if we can take that and make sure that the on-site team can communicate and respond to a prospect or a resident, whether they're using WhatsApp, whether they're using a social platform, whether they're sending in a text message, an email, however they want, and being able to do that without any roadblocks, and kind of finding that easy journey path. So that's my term, and I'm really kind of
really close to
home.
That when I think about. Because when you have all of those ways to communicate, the other thing that happens is you don't remember what way you communicated that thing. This happens with Jennifer and I directly all the time. I'll be like, was that an email, or was that on Notion, or did we text that?
Right. Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, hopefully technology is about to just make all of that so that it all lives in one place, or at least marries together in one place, so that you can maintain the historical significance of those documents, right?
Right. Exactly. Okay. If you want to read more, as you said, Sharon, you can check out my latest blog on Multifamily Media Network. But hopefully we have some good stuff coming down for us in the industry this year.
That's awesome. And I'm so glad you brought that up. So I think we're going to move up to story 3. And we talked a lot about pets in prior episodes because people they have more pets than ever before, right? It's people consider them family. My brother and sister-in-law don't have children, and their pets are their children. And so they would not ever choose to move somewhere where their pets were not going to enjoy that experience as well. So to move that conversation forward a little bit, we wanted to talk about hosting a pet day. So this is beyond just having maybe a you know what we talked about in the past about finding resources. If you don't have a pet spa, then bringing in somebody. This whole pet day is like a party for pets. Basically, you have photographers taking photos, pet photos with families. You can bring in veterinarians who are in the area. They may even offer a discount on vaccinations that day, which is a win for everyone if the pets in your community are vaccinated. And you can have not just the photographers and that, you have pet swag, you can have fun and games, pet treats. You can invite pet-centric shops. Every time I go to our farmers market in our little town, there's somebody there who's selling what they've made as pet treats, and those kind of treats. Listen, we pay a ridiculous amount for our dog to have whatever the cute thing is for him to chew on. So I just wanted to think about how to make pets a part of your community, not just a part of it, but a celebrated part of it. Because when you love someone's pet, those people love you back. That is a huge part of pet ownership. What do you think, Jennifer?
You were talking earlier prior to us today. I love the term possum.
Yes.
And getting some possum reviews. And I chuckle because you may have heard I have 2 kids, and we watch a show called Cauthen, and it's based out of Boston, but it's Boston, and every reference is about dogs. And the show's literally for kids, but I watched every episode, 3 seasons. Like, it is great. So love the idea of the possum. It's just super fun. But I think the cool thing too, and some people may have done this, but it is something that everybody can do, across no matter what, is actually at the end of the season, before you close your pool, right? You can go ahead and actually have a dog pool day. And local pool areas up by me actually do it as well. And all of the dogs can come and swim in the pool before you close it. You could do a time for small dogs and a time for big dogs, but let them come in and jump in the water, at the end of the season, which is always also a great opportunity to get all of them together. I'm a huge dog fan. I have 2. So this is right up my alley, and I would 100% be there if you did this.
And you can help with signage that says, please leave us a possum review.
I love it.
You want people celebrating this, and these are the kind of photos that find their way to your social media for sure. So that's,
and you even made me just think of, Sharon, of like cool ideas is allowing the opportunity for you to offer your residents like a way for the dogs to come and put their paw on like some kind of like concrete, right? Like block, and leave them as like a giveaway or a takeaway, and they can have that as a leftover for their apartment or to showcase that in their home. I got all sorts of dog ideas. I think that's awesome.
You can find those purchased 4x4 ceramic tiles. And so those are already fired. You just get the puppy to put their paw print on there. And everyone loves that stuff. I've got paw prints of my dogs and dogs past in my house right now.
Yeah. And the great thing is, as I know most on-site folks would even say, the benefit is they could probably find somebody who actually owns a dog that they didn't know owned a dog coming to the event. So you could also actually find out what additional dogs are in your community during a dog event or a cat event or whatever you have.
That's another bonus, I suppose. But I love the idea before you close the pool, have a pet pool day. I would never have considered that. And my initial was like, we're going to let dogs in the pool. But we're about to close it anyway. Yeah, what a great idea. And it's great for dogs to swim. Not that we want them doing it all the time, but it's really healthy for dogs who enjoy that to get the chance to do it. I don't think my dog's ever been in the water, so I don't know.
Well, if you had a lot of big dogs, I just went to a fair and they had the dog jumping contest, right?
Oh, yeah?
If you have a bigger pool, you could really maybe have some people sign up. And if you've got large dogs, they could jump and see how far, and maybe they get a prize. You can kind of be creative as you want when it comes to your pets at your community.
If you don't want to do that, there's plenty of other things. Throwing the Frisbee and seeing if, what dog can. I used to have an Australian cattle dog, and he could catch Frisbees like nobody's business. So, we would have really enjoyed
first place for him.
So we're going to make the whole show about dogs if we're not careful. So
No.
I think I think we're going to close it down for now. But if you want some great ideas, leave us some comments below. But if you've got better ideas than the ones we've shared today, we'd love to hear those. So definitely write those in for us, and we'll be glad
Yes.
to attribute those to you. All right, I think we're going to take the elevator up to the fourth floor, and our fourth story today, Jennifer, is something that that you came up with, I believe.
Well, yeah. So, kind of on the ends of last year, a little bit, as centralization had been focused on leasing, thinking about the maintenance side and self service. So, the topic has come up more and more. Again, with the pandemic, maintenance shortages are continuing to, grow. As a matter of fact, in the next 5 years, we're going to see a higher shortage in maintenance staff. And how do we close the gap, or kind of work with the gap that's growing, in essence, right? The maintenance folks now, 55 to 60 is really when they're trying to retire, because it's a lot of manual work right on their body, and from that perspective. So looking at self-serve maintenance, so small repairs can be made by residents with minimal skills and tools. I know you're probably thinking, my residents really don't want to fix their own stuff, and they're paying their high rent, and they really want maintenance to do it. But nowadays, there is a piece of every generation that is really willing to do it themselves, especially if it's like a flapper or a GFI reset, or a toilet plunge, right? Something simple that they can do, whether you are offering that through a video self-help for them, or if you have somebody available via phone, being able to walk through those tutorials, it's going to help save your residents time, because they want it done quickly. They also, because of COVID, don't really want anybody in their home because they're working 24/7. They also have dogs, right? Or they just prefer that nobody come into their home. So the residents nowadays are actually willing and open to the idea of fixing small things themselves, as opposed to waiting, 24, 48 hours for somebody to come in and do that small change. So there's a lot of different ways. Again, self tutorials you can use. There are services out there where you can create the videos with your maintenance team and have those readily available. There's also services out there where you can have a team in place that can help walk through those small requests, and it gives your maintenance techs the opportunity to focus on the large things that need to be fixed and handled, and keeping the community at the level it's supposed to be. So I'm all for it. I call my dad all the time and say, hey, how do I fix this via phone, right? Or I'll YouTube something. So there's a lot of different ways to help give some breathing room to the maintenance team.
It's such an interesting concept. And there are always going to be residents who say, absolutely not. I don't want to do anything. That's why I'm renting. But there are a lot of people who, for whatever reason, having someone in their house, or having to arrange for the pet to be gone or to be crated, if they don't crate them during the day, usually, for whatever reason, it's complicated, right? There are people who are elderly and aren't that competent, and they have medications that are out, and they don't want someone in the house unless they can make that secure. So there's a lot of reasons that someone might not want this. I guess I would stress that this is not a replacement for maintenance. If a resident wants maintenance to come in and push the button at the garbage disposal to make it start again, then they have the right to ask for that. So I don't want to envision a future where the answer is, sorry, we don't do those kind of repairs. You have to do them yourself, because that is a quick way to lose out on high quality residents. But I do think that asking them, being able to say, hey, I think this might be a fairly simple fix. Would you mind if I talked you through trying something first? And you may well get a resident who says, well, yeah, if it's going to be easy, I'll try it. We're not asking them to do electrical, major plumbing, none of that. We don't want to flood the neighbors below. But it is an interesting concept. And like many things, there might be an immediate no amongst people in the industry from saying absolutely not. And a lot of things we said absolutely no to 10 years ago are now standard fare. So you just never know.
This episode is brought to you by Widewail, the reputation partner for BH, Avenue 5, Trilogy, and more. Join Widewail on May 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern for event number 1 in our 3-part virtual event series, Voice of the Resident. We will be looking at in-depth topic and sentiment analysis from 400,000 Google reviews from residents of the largest multifamily groups, including the NMHC Top 50. Throughout the series, we will report on resident preferences and trends found in reviews by life cycle stage, retention, residency, and for our first event, tour and move-in. You'll leave with insights to optimize your operations, creating better resident experiences and driving better reviews. Put your dollars to work in the right places. Hear it directly from the source, the words of 400,000 residents. Go to widewail.com/data to sign up or find it on the revised community in virtual events. Attend live or watch on demand. That's widewail.com/data.
Well, I think too, the thing we have to think about is meeting the resident where they're at. And so I look at it, my analogy for a long time has been grocery shopping. We are given the option to pick up our groceries. We're given the option to get them delivered, and we're given the option to go shopping ourselves. And we need to give those options, to your point, Sharon, right, to our residents. It doesn't mean, just as you said, we're ever going to remove the boots on the ground, because that's never going to be the case. But if we can eliminate or help the team, because there isn't as many maintenance techs out there right now, we can save them, some work, so they can focus on those bigger things and let the smaller things get handled quickly by the resident. Then I think we're in for a win-win, right? From that perspective. So I do think that there's some great opportunities there. And again, not everybody is going to take it, but I think leaving the option on the table also says, hey, we want to meet you where you're at. And if it's convenient and easy, we have this option for you.
I love that analogy of the grocery store and all the different ways that we have to get the things that we need to us. And I was always like, I want to go grocery shopping myself because I want to pick my own produce. And then after we had it delivered a couple of times, I loved the option, but I hated how much it cost. And I'm like, curbside, it costs nothing. You mean I can just have you do all the shopping and you put it in my car? I get all the discounts from my, courtesy card or whatever. I'm in.
We do that with leasing, right? We do that with.
Agreed. So if any of our audience members are already offering this idea of a la carte maintenance, pick how you want to handle your repair, let us know. We'd love to hear how that's going. And if you've tried it and you had some big bumps in the road, let us know that too. This is all an opportunity about shared learning, really, ultimately. So we'd love to hear from you. I think we're going to move on to story 5. And yes. This is a heartwarming one. So Jennifer, I'll leave it to you.
Yeah, this one makes you feel warm and fuzzy, and it's really about an unexpected friendship. We did actually receive a story most recently, and wanted to share this because it is very heartwarming. And it's similar to ones that we possibly have shared rather in the earlier episodes. 2 residents, one was a college student and the other was a retiree. So different generations struck up an unexpected friendship. And really, despite their age difference, they found a common ground in books, the love of books. And they started a book club at the property. I think it's really cool because ultimately, the different types of relationships that often fill the gaps help people with their experiences and, really can create a great friendship. It doesn't matter, really what age you are, or there's just a common ground between these 2 people that struck up with the understanding they both love books. And that can sometimes be heartwarming in the sense that you might not have, those other folks that are into that live with you at that community. So I really love the observation and the experience of seeing these like founding families as what we're kind of, referencing that and serve rather as the extension of the family origin, because they might not have that family feel at the community, but creating that with the love of a common ground of a book club is pretty amazing. What do you think?
Well, I love books, so I would be one of the people who would want to be a part of that book club. But I love more than anything this sort of cross-generational relationships that are out there, because both have something to offer the other. And I see it in my children are grown now, and they are able to help me on things that I might have a gap in about latest technology or something. And I'm able to give them some wisdom from what I've learned through the years. Uh, my daughter, youngest, is looking for an apartment right now. She's about to move. And yes, she sends me every apartment community. What do you think? What should I be looking for? So, yeah, I just love the idea that we all have something to learn from each other and something to gain in an experience with somebody who's of a different generation. And I'm really happy that these two folks found each other and they found something they both loved, and that they're taking that to the community to say, hey, there must be other people here who love books too. And book clubs can be in person, but they can also be facilitated in the same way that we're having this conversation. So,
Yeah.
a great way, talk about a frictionless way to get people together and have them share something they love. I'm all about it.
I love that.
More of these stories. We love them.
Love them. I love them for sure. Kind of speaking of residents and forming different, ways to drive in community. I think you've got this next one. We're titling this one on this floor "The Resident Chef" for this story.
Yes. So in this story, a resident at a property was a chef, and during the pandemic, his business tanked, as so many restaurants did. And so he started hosting online cooking courses so that he could get some income during that time. And the property manager at his property noticed that what he was doing, saw some of his videos, and she hired him to do cooking demos. They had a fully furnished outdoor kitchen at their pool. And so she paid him and made it a resident event for people to come and get live cooking demos from an actual chef. And so it turned out to be a really great thing. And even once the chef was sort of the resident foodies really loved it, it was a huge win. But even once he went back to work, the property manager said, okay, but what if we gave away a prize and we let residents put their name in the hat, basically, and they can win a chef cooked meal in their home. So once a month, the chef gets paid to essentially go into someone's apartment and cook a meal for them and their family or their friends who've come over. And what an elevated experience to have. It would certainly be an elevated experience in our house if a chef cooked our meal.
Listen, the one last thing I love to do every day is cook dinner. So I would totally do the chef. I'd probably hire him after he came in for the one time, and he probably would be cooking me dinner at least a couple of times a week. So this is a win-win for me too. I love this.
It's just one more way to tell the story of your property and your social media and to really stand out. It's just not the kind of thing that you get everywhere. In fact, the last time a real chef cooked anything in our house this was a long time ago, but that's how they used to sell you cookware.
Yes.
So
is that when the days were of Tupperware, which they still sell in this?
It wasn't even Tupperware. It was actual cookware, but it was like, you've got at my house. Do you really think I can afford $1,000 worth of cookware? Thanks for the dinner, Mel. Okay. But this is a great idea because no one's going to get a bill at the end of it except for the one you've already agreed to with paying your resident to do it. But yeah, everything that you can do that makes you stand out is a cool thing to try. And in this case, it was, right place, right time when you have this resident chef who is already used to doing online and doing cooking tutorials.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Again, I'd take a chef any day.
Well, Jennifer, we are full of feel-good stories today. So we're going to move up to story 7 and give this one to you.
Yeah, this one, another feel-good story, the surprise party. This one, the property had a long-term resident who actually was referred to as the mayor, which is amazing. And he really came into the office almost every day for a visit and a cookie. We all can relate. We've got those folks that come in for the coffee or the cookie or the visit. And but his 90th birthday was approaching. And I love this idea. It's really super creative. But the staff invited the whole community to come together and celebrate the resident. And I absolutely would go to celebrate this resident myself. The payoff was huge. It wasn't just honestly for the resident, which was obviously fantastic, right? The mayor had a ton of new friends. The community was strengthened. Pictures were taken. You can promote that. It really shares the experience of what it's like to live at your community. And then you being able to post that on social media, people are talking about that, which we know referrals are like the number one source. And really it creates an amazing opportunity to bring the community together, to celebrate the resident, and just show value to the resident for everything that they have done. So it's a really good feel good story for sure. What do you think, Sharon? Would you attend the birthday party?
Oh, 100%. You and I were just talking recently. I just went to my aunt's 98th birthday party a couple of weeks ago, and you have a relative who's about to be 100 or is 100?
Yeah, she just turned 99 in January, so she'll be 100 next January. Yep.
So every chance you get to celebrate seniors who've made it to that age, you can't wait till the next year to do it. Nothing is promised. So get in there and be a part of the celebration. And I think if you're not used to being around super seniors like that, there can be a tendency to think there's not much to learn. But about 2 months before my aunt turned 98, I went there and took my granddaughter and my daughter, who's named for her, and I asked a bunch of questions about her life. And so it just gave her a chance to sort of tell some stories because her deep memories are better than her recent ones.
Yes.
So she could tell me stories about, she left home after being the oldest of 8 children on a farm, but she didn't know how to cook because her mother cooked and she sewed. That was how they divided the labor. So when she got married, she tried to cook her husband scrambled eggs with a plastic fork.
Not a good idea.
And I just love that story that she still remembers it so well today, and how the fork melted and she learned that was not the way to make scrambled eggs.
That is not the way to make. You kind of inspired me with that story a little bit. And again, I think no matter what kind of community or what type of community, you really could also reach out to maybe a resident who's a photographer. Again, everybody has a cell phone, and something that's pretty amazing, again, is to maybe take out that camera and that phone and ask, even if it's a few questions to that resident, about their life or, whatever that may be. And you could send that to their family, or you could send that to them. As the generation gets older, and I know this from my grandmother, they just want to feel connected. Right. And they want to feel, they can share the value that they have, which is memories and experiences. So taking that, you don't have to really spend a lot of money. You just use your phone, or maybe there's somebody else in the community that would be willing to do that. And maybe it helps their portfolio if they're a photographer or videographer, right? There's a little bit of kind of barter back and forth, but you get a great community experience for everybody. So you kind of inspired me that story.
I love the idea of turning the camera on and capturing those moments and those stories the stories of her lifetime. My children will never really be able to relate to what that was like growing up on a farm in the mountains they didn't have indoor plumbing until her father physically ran pipe like for over a mile from a stream on a mountaintop all the way down to their house. So yeah, we have all the comforts today, but what a difference it is, and what a perspective that you can gain from really talking with people of another generation. All right,
yeah, for sure.
I want to try to move us along though, because we're at our 8th story. Because
I know we've had some good stories today.
We should probably start to wrap it up at some point. So, story number 8 is the idea of a photography contest. And this came about because by the time you're seeing this, the eclipse will have been in the past. And I don't know about you, the most recent solar eclipse, but your entire social media feeds were full of everybody either wearing the glasses and looking up at the sun, or trying to take images of it, or the people have super smart camera setups taking just perfect images as it went across. And that was, if you wanted to talk about anything else that day, you're out of luck, because that's just what the day was. And listen, I love it. I love the whole idea that happened, and that I always wonder, what did people think about it 1,000 years ago when suddenly it was dark in the middle of the day, and it was attributed to all sorts of sort of superstitious beliefs about why suddenly the sun was so mad that it went away during the middle of the day. Anyway, the solar eclipse reminded me about, and all that social media feed, just what we all know, everyone is carrying a camera with them everywhere they go. And I am one of those people that really loves, I like flowers. And so if I see a beautiful flower, I'll stop and take a picture of it. My phone has a million of them. I just love the look of them. So what if you hosted a photography contest of your property, with the caveat that the entries would be shared on social media? You could even have them post them to social media, but you gather the images and vote on the top 3 and award prizes. But what you got in the moment was 100 extra gorgeous photos of your property. And what an inexpensive and amazing way to get different perspectives on what do people see when they're looking at your property in that way.
I love that. I'm always a fan of photography contests. And my biggest one, and I've seen a lot of people as property managers go to our like social media groups and have other people vote on them. But I'm the biggest fan, as you said, creating them all or curating them all and having them even hashtag, with the ones with the most likes and shares will, win. And your residents are your own best advocates. So taking that opportunity to allow them to kind of shine the light on your property. And then again, to your point, the property gains all of these beautiful photos to be able to use. And it's a natural, authentic viewpoint from the resident, as it's not just stage photography, right? It's a little bit more authentic about what's happening at the community. So I'm all about the photography, and there's nothing better than a camera on your own phone, and it's right in your pocket.
Perfectly ready. I have voted countless times when somebody said, please vote for my dog. He's in a photo contest. Yeah. I'm like, all right, I'll vote for your dog. He's cute. So I would definitely be somebody who, it's all about making sure people know about this. And you can't know everybody that your resident knows. But if they're posting it on their account and tagging your property, then suddenly thousands more people are going to know not only that you exist, but that you have beautiful spaces that exist at your property. So that's my freebie for our 8th story this week.
We have had amazing 8 stories today. I feel like we could, as you said, continue to talk about these 8 great stories, but it's been super fun today, as always. I know you mentioned in the beginning, Sharon, but to everyone listening, please make sure you follow us, share your comments, your feedback, send us a review. We would absolutely love that. And we are part of Multifamily Media Network, so please visit our website as well. You can see more information and listen to all of our episodes, but not just ours, but everybody in our network as well. We've got an array of different experts in different fields in multifamily, and you will learn something for sure, no matter who you turn into. So we appreciate everyone today.
Yes, absolutely. And Jennifer's right. Whatever topic you're interested in, we have a podcast series that covers that topic. So please go to the Multifamily Media Network and check that out. And thanks for the stories that you sent us today. It was really nice to include some of those heartwarming stories from out in the world. And we would love to hear your comments below. And we look forward to seeing you on another episode of 8 Stories next week.